Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Rated RP to M. You're listening to an ad for PC Game Pass. Want new games on day one like Avowed or Football Manager 25? Say nothing if you're getting excited. Thought so. Did I mention legendary franchises like Diablo? And all for one low monthly price? 3 words. We got you. Learn more at xbox.com/PC Game Pass. Some games reference coming soon. Game catalog varies by region and over time. Any questions? I'm just kidding. I can't hear you.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it.
Rams Nation, how we doing today? I'm Ian, and welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. Like, subscribe, and share this podcast with all your fellow Rams fans and football fans. We very much appreciate it here on this network. And today, we're here to talk about the 2024 Pro Bowl, and only one Ram made it, which is shocking, and we'll talk about that stuff a little bit later. But the one Ram who did get in was standout rookie outside linebacker Jared Verse from Florida State. He is the lone Ram to make the 2024 Pro Bowl roster, and it shouldn't be a shock to anybody who's been watching him. Of course, all of Rams Nation, you have been watching him and seeing him kick ass for this entire season. And yes, were there some moments that were not so great early in the season, right? Missed tackles, missed sack opportunities, maybe not containing the edge quite to the level we were hoping for and expecting. And he's really turned it around since. Been a phenomenal player. Yes, has there been tons of sacks and tackles these last maybe month and some change? No, but he's definitely affecting the game. And if you watch games replayed on, your television, your iPad, computer, you watch the All-22, any of those things, you realize how much of an impact he's making play in and play out. So it's no surprise that the fans, Rams fans, you out there, football fans, NFL executives, whoever has a vote, they got him in. And congrats to Jared Verse for being a baller and being a first-round pick who was not a bust, clearly, and being a first-round pick where that quote-unquote lottery ticket did hit, since the Rams have not had a first-round pick since Jared Goff back in 2016 when it was the first year back in Los Angeles for the Rams, or like I like to say, LA Rams 2.0. So, hey, couple Jareds, it's worked out. And this Jared right here, Mr. Verse, has been fantastic. And for those who out there who didn't know this, I mean, Jared Verse is tied for 4th most pressures in the NFL. I mean, what an absolutely fantastic stat. And for anyone out there who's not too sure what that means, it means when you're getting to the quarterback and affecting the pocket, his throwing, his ability to throw, and hurrying the quarterback. It's kind of all combined. It gets a little nuanced depending on which website you want to look at, depending on ESPN, NFL.com, so forth and so forth. There's tons of analytic departments out there for both football, but it's basically when you're affecting the quarterback passing, whether he has to throw it sooner, he has to run away, he has to eat it, or he takes a sack. It's kind of all combined, and he's tied for 4th in the league. And who is he behind in that? Well, Myles Garrett, a defensive player of the year. Jonathan Grenard, who's been a standout player his entire career at the edge position. And then Trey Hendrickson, who's a Pro Bowl, all-pro level edge defender as well. And gosh, you know who else he's ahead of? Chris Jones, 3-time Super Bowl champion, who's been clutch in multiple playoff games since he's been a Chief and, part of their dynasty with Kansas City. So Jared Verse is the real freaking deal, Rams Nation, and any football fan out there. He is fantastic. And who is he joining on that Pro Bowl roster? Well, he's joining Jonathan Grenard, who we just talked about, who's been fantastic, a Viking, and Andrew Van Ginkel, who the Rams had really big interest in before the draft process has started during free agency. That's someone who they wanted to grab and bring into the Rams organization, but the Vikings, outbid us in that. So what a fantastic group on the NFC side. And then, Nick Bonino for the Denver Broncos, who's had a great year. TJ Watt, a defensive player of the year. And then Khalil Mack, a defensive player of the year guy as well. So what a great group it is for our young Ram to be a Pro Bowler. Shout out to you, Rams Nation, for voting him in. Shout out to any other football fan who voted him in. And shout out to all the executives and anyone else who had a vote in this process. Jared Verse, Pro Bowl bound, our lone Ram for the 2024 season. I tip my cap to you. And with that said, Rams Nation, I know there's many of you who are in a pissy mood. Let's just call it what it is for some other Rams who were not voted in to this 2024 Pro Bowl roster. So who are those Pro Bowl snubs that I think could be argued? Most definitely, I think it's definitely our D tackles. And who would that be? That would be Braden Fisk, Jared Verse's fellow teammate, who's in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year as well with Jared Verse, who I think is going to win it, by the way, Jared Verse. Him and then Kobe Turner. But who didn't make it? I think that's important to talk about. So we have here for the National Football Conference, we have Jalen Carter, who's an awesome D tackle, no doubt about it. You have Dexter Lawrence for the Giants, who's a fantastic defensive tackle as well. No shock there that he's in that running and he made it. Vita Vea, Super Bowl champion with the Buccaneers. He's a fantastic D tackle as well. So I get it. All three of these guys are fantastic defensive tackles and worthy of being voted into the Pro Bowl. But if we compare some stats, and I know I don't have every single metric possible, but if we compare the baseline for it, and let's bring that up real quick here. So shout out to Stathead Football for providing all these fun stats for us to digest here. So I have on this table, I have Dexter Lawrence, Jalen Carter, and Vita Vea, who made the Pro Bowl roster. Then I have Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk, and all their basic stats right here on the table above to showcase. So Dexter Lawrence has 9 sacks. He leads the group there. Fair. But then you have Jalen Carter with only 4.5 sacks and Vita Vea with only 6. That's way less than Kobe Turner's 8 and Braden Fisk's 8 sacks each. Okay. Then we have solo tackles. Who leads that? Kobe Turner with 35. Who's next in line? Then you have Vita Vea. Okay. Then you have Jalen Carter. All right, 25. Then you have Dexter Lawrence with 23. And then you have Braden Fisk with 20. But solo tackles, I mean, that's a lot for a D tackle at this point in the year. And how much more he has than the guys who made that Pro Bowl roster. Kobe Turner leads that. Then you have forced fumbles. Jalen Carter has 2. Okay. But you know who else has 2 and is tied with that? Braden Fisk has 2. And then right behind him, you have Kobe Turner with 1, Dexter Lawrence with 1, and then Vita Vea has 0. Who has fumble recoveries? Only our Los Angeles Rams guys do. Braden Fisk leads this group with 2, and Kobe Turner leads, or is second, with 1. So I understand that the 3 guys who made it are fantastic defensive tackles. But I don't think you can argue and say they're for sure way better and way more deserving of a Kobe Turner, of a Braden Fisk, based off these metrics I have here in front of you guys, and we're all looking at together here. Now, we all know that the Pro Bowl has integrated fan voting, and I think that has a large part to do with it because Kobe Turner, who is getting more popular, Braden Fisk, who will get more popular now that he's going to have some national spotlight into playoffs, and obviously he'll be in these Defensive Rookie of the Year voting process. I think people go with the names that they know better. A Jalen Carter, who had all the draft hype, and he's on the Eagles. Vita Vea, who's a Super Bowl champion and has played great for them. Dexter Lawrence is in the New York market and has been in the league much longer and who has been a multiple-time Pro Bowler. And I think that plays into it. So Rams Nation, if you want your Rams to get in and you know they deserve to get in, we need you to vote because the fan voting is a big part of this now. It's not like back in the day where it was just executives and other people with votes in the media. Fan voting has a large part to do with it now. So I really was thinking that Kobe Turner was at least going to get in. I thought Braden Fisk had a fantastic shot. It's a shame that neither of them got in. But again, based off these stats, I think they should have got in over a few of the NFC D tackles that made it. But I'll leave that to you to decide for yourself. But I think at least one of them, probably both of them, Fisk, Turner, should have got in instead. But kudos to the guys that did get in. But who was another Pro Bowl snub that allowed the fan base and even myself was like, man, he didn't get in? Well, I have to say that is running back Kyren Williams, who has been the bell cow, the do-it-all, the constant force of nature on this Rams offense. As the Rams offense hasn't been good when he hasn't gotten the ball enough. Let's just call it what it is. When Kyren hasn't gotten 15 or more carries, this Rams offense is just stunk. And when he gets 15 or more carries, this team produces, scores points, gets yards, and moves the ball. And I really was shocked to see him not get in. So who did get in from the NFC here?
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
You have Saquon Barkley. Not a shock. He broke 2,000 yards. A large part of that was because of the Rams' contribution on Sunday night when he had a career day. He got in. Totally get it. Then you have Josh Jacobs for the Green Bay Packers, who's had a fantastic year as well. Okay, I can dig that. He's gotten the ball a lot, and he's been a constant for that Packers offense, who has kind of fluttered every now and then, but he's been a constant force. And then the one where I'm like, is Jahmyr Gibbs. And it has nothing to do with his talent. It has nothing to do with his ability or his production or any of those things. It is more that I think Kyren, him being the focal point of an offense, for him carrying an entire offense, where Jahmyr Gibbs split time with Montgomery for almost the entire year, and the passing game was on fire. And yes, he is uber talented. I understand all that, but I think Kyren, based on the pass blocking, based on his short yardage, pretty much guarantee that he's going to get when it's 4th and short, 3rd and short, he's going to slam it in and get that first score, touchdown, whatever it is. I think just the constant teams load the box as they know, like Kyren's the main guy. I think it's a different set of circumstances for Kyren other than Jahmyr, who benefits from an open passing game, who benefits from having another running back, right? They call him Sonic and Knuckles, who's equally a Pro Bowl level running back. And I think, that sucked to see him not get in. But let's compare some stats and see if that's a valid point or not that we all think is valid, that Kyren should have been in. So if we look here at the rush attempts, you have Kyren, who comes in second. You have Saquon Barkley at 345 rush attempts. Tons for sure. Then you have Kyren coming in at second, 316. That's a good chunk as well. Then you have next in line Josh Jacobs with 295. And then you have Jahmyr Gibbs with 227 rush attempts. Okay. Then we go to yards. Who has the most? Well, Saquon is one of the few running backs in the history of football to have 2,000. So not a shock there. He's number one. Then who's number two? You have Kyren at number two with 1,299. Then you have third, 1,285 by Jacobs. And you have 1,273 by Jahmyr Gibbs. Rushing yards an attempt. You have Saquon with almost 6. You have Kyren, or we'll go in order. You have Jahmyr Gibbs at a little over 5.5. You have Josh Jacobs with 4.4, and then you have Kyren Williams at 4.1. Now, I know we can stop here and talk about that, and we'll do that. Like my previous point, loaded boxes. The passing game has not been there for the Rams pretty much the entire year other than a couple games. So think about it. Saquon is playing with Jalen, who has rushing ability. You have A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. You have Devontae Smith. That's a deadly group of 3 pass catchers right there, including Saquon and the quarterback who's a good runner as well. So that opens things up for Saquon to run the football with an all-pro O-line pretty much full of Pro Bowl, all pro level players. Okay. Then we can go to Jahmyr Gibbs, right? He splits time in Montgomery. So these stats are impressive. I'm not denying that at all. But he benefits also from having Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You have Jared Goff, who's been playing good football. You have the tight end, whose name I'm just blanking on at the moment, Sam Laporta. There we go. Then you have an all-pro O-line, pretty much one of the best O-lines in the entire league with multiple Pro Bowl, all-pro level players. He benefits from that greatly. So that's why you see those stats pretty high. Josh Jacobs, you have a top 10 O-line, in my opinion, with the Green Bay Packers. You benefit from multiple pass catching weapons, right? You have the tight end. You have about 4 wide receivers who can go off on any team, any game. And you benefit from a quarterback who can launch it and who is an athletic guy who can extend plays as well. So I think those stats benefit him, or those scenarios benefit him as a runner. Then you have Kyren Williams this season, who played behind, I want to say a gazillion, if I just throw in a dumb number out there, different O-line combinations where there was backups, third stringers, 4 stringers that were playing significant snaps. You had your top 2 wide receivers hurt pretty much half the entire, almost half the entire year. You had multiple backups at the wide receiver position. You had backups at the tight end spot. The tight end you paid didn't work out, so you had the third and second string having to fill in. And he did not benefit from a team offense that was wide open with multiple Pro Bowlers on the O-line, with multiple weapons, players, great players on the outside catching passes. So Kyren's stat with that, 4.1 yards per attempt, I think really speaks volumes to how much he was leaned upon and how much he was still able to produce when there wasn't much going on outside of him on a week in and week basis, like the other 3 running backs that were producing this season. So that's to my point about the rushing yards per attempt. Then we go to rushing touchdowns. Who leads the league, or who's tied? Josh Jacobs and Kyren Williams with both 14. Fantastic by Kyren. I mean, he's getting the ball. Now, you can say Saquon, if Jalen Hurts didn't get all those brotherly shove, tush push, goal line ones, he would probably lead the league in that. Okay, I can agree with that point, but he has 13. Jahmyr Gibbs has 13. And then receptions. You have Jahmyr Gibbs with 47, and he's a big weapon in the pass game. Respect to that. Then you have Josh Jacobs at 35, Kyren at 34, and then Saquon at 33. All right. Receiving yards, you have 486 for Jahmyr. Okay. You have 340 for Josh Jacobs. You have 278 for Saquon. You have 182 for Kyren. But I think the main thing here is that Kyren Williams in the running back position with the Los Angeles Rams for forever, since Todd Gurley's last, fantastic year in 2018, are just not a part of the passing game. I don't think it's because Kyren can't catch. I don't think it's because Sean McVay doesn't want to use him. I just think he just forgets to call pass plays. I mean, Kyren would be fantastic in the screen game, in my opinion. Can't remember the last time a running back had a screen pass in the last couple years with the Rams, with Kyren as the main starter. And even going back really to 2018 with Todd Gurley before he had his knee issues. If he was used in that, I feel like he would definitely have tons of yardage in the passing game, because Kyren can catch, Kyren can run, he can run over people, he can juke people out, he's got moves, he's shifty. So I think that's a detriment from not from his skill set, but just the usage. He just is not put in situations to catch the football. So it's unfortunate those stats are very low. But, yards per reception, 5, as he was only thrown to as little check downs, nothing else, like I just illustrated, and everyone else having more than him, unfortunately. But, hey, he's got 2 receiving touchdowns, tied with Saquon, 1 more than Josh Jacobs, and only Jahmyr Gibbs has 1 more than him with 3. So, hey, like I said, if he was used more in the passing game, I feel like he definitely would have caused tons of damage. But Sean McVay does not like to use the running back in the pass game for whatever reason I'll never understand. And a fun little one, Kyren's returned a couple punts, 2 for 12 yards. Not bad. No one else has done that. So I still have to say, are we disappointed that Kyren didn't get in? Yes. We just laid out all the reasons why I thought he should have and why his stats are, in my opinion, more impressive based on the circumstance that he was playing with pretty much his entire up until recently, unlike the other guys playing with, all-star level talent around them, O-line, pass catchers, quarterback, etc. But here are the stats. You can decide for yourself, Rams Nation. And gosh, I wish he had got in. But the Rams Pro Bowl snubs, could Puka Nacua have gotten in? Maybe, but he missed the majority of the year, and there was other guys who were healthy and producing the entire season for all 16 games up until this point. So I understand him not getting it. It is unfortunate. If he would have played a whole year, no doubt about it, he would have been one of the top pass catchers, both in catches, yards, and probably even touchdowns too, if he was ready to go for all 16, 17 games. And I know Matthew Stafford had a down year. Could you say some of the O-line? Sure, a Dotson. Could you say a Havenstein? Yeah, but with all of these Rams Nation, whoever you think was a Pro Bowl snub and who should have gotten in from this Rams roster, remember, the fan voting is incredibly important now. And it is half a popularity contest. The executives, other people who have a vote in the media play a big part, but you, Rams Nation, can play a big part for future draft Pro Bowl considerations, no matter what it is, right? The drafting process to get these guys into the Pro Bowl roster, vote. You see it on X and Twitter, vote, retweet, like, whatever those circumstances are. NFL.com, I think ESPN has some stuff when Pro Bowl voting is going on every year. Spam it like hell, like other fan bases seem to do. And that's how we can get our guys who we know should be in to get in future seasons. But thank you for tuning in, Rams Nation. This, again, was very much fun to talk with you guys about, as Jared Verse is our only Ram to get in this 2024 campaign. But we hope that will change in future seasons for sure. But thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share this video with all your fellow Rams and football fans. And we'll see you next time here on the Rams Up Podcast Network.
That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.